In an indigo canvas of constellations and nebulae far distant from human reality, a melody of despair echoed. The universe of Listhea was preparing for a decrescendo of existence, the melancholic end note to their cosmic symphony. Stars' glow was dimming rhythmically, telegraphing the unavoidable, the collision of two galaxies. This cosmic mishap, which they named the Decrescendo, was prophesied, studied, and at last accepted mournfully as the harbinger of their extinction. Among the resonant sentient life forms thriving on the orchestration of celestial sounds, one stood out. Composer SolÃ, a maestro of their acoustic world, the finest astronomical musician that ever existed. She possessed the rare ability to decipher the music of the cosmos in its most rudimentary form, a talent revered and respected, especially given their impending doom. In the heart of their central city, inside a metallic emerald tower that spiraled towards the cybernetic sky, SolÃ was immersed in her observatory, her sanctuary dedicated to the exploration of universal symphony. Complex holographic sequences of sounds, pitches, and celestial movements crowded the room, spinning like a formidable ballet around her. Adorned in her habitual chromatic robe, her antennae flickered with synaptic energy as her concentration focused on discerning the minute pitches from the mainstream cosmic harmony. Transcribing them onto sonic manuscripts was a task few could master, and among them, SolÄ was the uncontested virtuoso. Her civilization was addicted to the sweet melancholy of her scores. They were songs ebbing and flowing with the cadence of celestial bodies, but there was more to her compositions than mere melody. Each symphony was an oral history of the cosmos, a narrative dictated by the voices of astral bodies represented in acoustic notes. Scientific records prepared Listhea's citizens for the decrescendo, for the silence that was to follow. But SolÄ had plans that dared to challenge such notions. While most accepted their forthcoming demise, SolÄ rejected surrender. She decided to translate their existence into an immortal symphony, a final ode to their civilization. This wouldn't merely be a score, but an echo of their being across the acoustic tapestry of the cosmos. In her observatory, animated by a fervent inspiration, SolÄ began scribing her greatest work, a giant galactic opus, meticulously capturing the movements of the colliding galaxies in musical notation. She undertook this as a personal mission, filled with a heightened sense of purpose, an urgency that she assumed to be an inevitable product of the countdown towards decrescendo. Complicated algorithms formulated in her mind, transforming rays of dying stars and the spiraling galaxies into harmonies and notes only she could comprehend. This composition was to be her legacy, an eternal echo resonating long after the silence of the decrescendo. Only in the midst of her fevered composition did she sense the peculiarity, the oddity of harmonic disruptions appearing intermittently on her screen. Academics and intellectuals across Listhea were puzzled by this data. Discussions and debates arose, but no concrete conclusions were reached. The disruption was a mystery, a riddle whispered by the cosmos, tantalizing and needing deciphering. Yet, amid the uncertainty, one thing was clear. SolÄ's work was the planet's silent anthem of hope. Even though they feared the looming decrescendo, every individual found solace in her music. A sense of catharsis echoed through the sonic air each time her symphony wafted through their cities. Regardless of the harmonic disruption, SolÄ persevered. There was a masterpiece to craft, the story of their end to write. An anthem she owed to her people and their existence in the cosmic dance now drawing to a somber close. She did not waste time delving into the harmonic riddle ringing in the backdrop of the universe. After all, she had a symphony to compose. The elegy for their world resonated in the grandeur of celestial harmonies, narrating the last act of their cosmic theatre. Elsewhere, the odd data appeared and vanished, puzzling minds, but unnoticed that it held the key to a twist no mind on Listhea could possibly fathom. The silence was coming, but so was the surprise. Little did they understand, little did they know. The universe continued its unforgiving orbit, and SolÄ delved deeper into her composition. The symphony now consumed her every thought, every fibre of her being. Night and day blurred as the pen raced across her sonograph, capturing the cosmic dance in skeins of musical notations. Amid the relentless composition sessions, the harmonic enigma kept emerging, a melodic anomaly that SolÄ could not ignore any longer. Resting her weary synapses, she looked at the large projection of the universe on her workstation screen. The magnificent collision of galaxies displayed rhythmic choreography, but the unsettling harmonics played the dissonant notes in her grand design. She decided she could not turn a deaf antenna anymore. The cosmic riddle demanded deciphering. So she ventured into the depths of the anomaly. She amassed data, immersed herself in complex frequency patterns, and decoded interruptive harmonics. Sleep took a back seat as she toiled night and day, her mind swaying between the grand symphony and this new-age cosmic mystery. She noticed something spectacular as she traced the peculiar frequency. The harmonic disruption seemed reciprocal to her symphony, specifically to the notes correlating with the decrescendo. It was as if these pulsations held an encoded message, a response to her ode. Days turned into weeks, and after amassing enough data, she was convinced there was more to it. The oscillations did not seem natural. They conveyed resonance akin to conscious sentience. It was as if the universe responded to her, echoing back her symphony-encoded frequencies. The discovery compounded excitement wrapped in a shroud of disbelief. Yet she kept her discovery concealed. She feared ridicule and disbelief. After all, claiming the universe responded seemed borders of insanity. While SolÃ wrestled with her secret, her composition connected hearts across their civilization. The media christened her the muse of the Decrescendo, the beacon guiding their civilization towards the inevitable zenith with grace and dignity. Her symphony was celebrated, discussed, and played around every corner of their world, the melancholic notes reverberating around the metallic corridors and towering diagonals. As the symphony's completion neared, so did the Decrescendo. SolÃ could not shake off the strange connection she had unearthed between her work and the peculiar frequency. A daring hypothesis formed in her mind. If her symphony resonated with celestial bodies, could it channel the harmonic frequency to manipulate the trajectory of the collision? It was a bold theory, a fool's hope, some would say. It contradicted beliefs and scientific calculations. Yet every note she decoded, every pattern she analyzed, strengthened her suspicion. There was power within her symphony, a suggestive whisper she desperately wanted to be true. As the vortex of two galaxies spiraled closer to its climactic dance, SolÃ made the decision to intertwine the harmonic disruption into her symphony. A clandestine experiment, a daring gamble, placed at the heart of the most pivotal composition in their civilizational history. With a renewed fervor, she amended her symphony, weaving in the anomalous frequencies in proportion to the celestial resonance. The universe hummed in anticipation. The notes of hope played over cities and valleys, whispering an undisclosed promise. Little did they know, their grand elegy might become their preservation anthem. And SolÃ held the conductor's baton to this cosmic orchestra, standing at the precipice of a revelation none could envisage. The day of the grand performance arrived, and with it, the first signs of the Decrescendo's onset. Listhia's sky turned sepia, a bizarre spectacle that personified the pathos of lovers' final embrace. The galaxies started their collision course, their twisting dance triggering a maelstrom in the cosmos. SolÃ stood on a vantage platform in the heart of the city, the stage for her final performance. The matrix of nerve-based cables connected her to the massive amplifiers, ready to broadcast her composition across the planetary network. The noetic keyboard twinkled under her touch, resonating with her synaptic commands. A pulsating silence swelled across the cityscape, hanging heavy with bated breaths. The thrumming heartbeat of their civilization held captive by the opening bars of SolÄ's magnum opus. With a soft intake of breath, she began, and celestial notes cascaded forth to fill the sound spectrum of Lysthia. Ethereal melodies swirled around the sonorous architecture, echoing through the labyrinthian alleys and the sprawling city expanses. SolÄ, electrified by the music and the moment, tapped into her instincts, letting the cosmic rhythm guide her exultant symphony. As the galaxies collided to a celestial waltz, its ghostly echo resonated with SolÄ's harmonies. Her secret fragments of disruptive frequencies hummed subtly under the dominating score, virtually unnoticed. Yet, as she delved deeper into the symphony, the embedded frequencies started aligning. There was a sublime transformation in the spawned harmonics, an aberration that was shocking. The supposedly deadly collision rhythm started distorting slightly, its trajectory deviating in tune with her performing symphony. The realization hit hard. SolÄ's theory wasn't a wild hypothesis anymore. The embedded harmonics were indeed manipulating the collision's rhythm. The sheer impact of this revelation overwhelmed her. The harmonic anomaly was not just an echo. It held potential energy, potential only her unique symphony could unlock and harness. She was fearful and triumphant at the same time. Despite her skyrocketing tension, she maintained a composed exterior. Above her, the holographic projection captured the decrescendo, showcasing the collision of the galaxies, seen in real time through the telescopic cameras. As the symphony grew, so did the alignment and the ensuing distortion. It was subtle, minimal, but real. With each note, the galaxies danced in a different tempo, their probable collision averted ever so slightly. But as the unusual change in the celestial event got broadcasted globally, it triggered a panic and confusion. Scientific institutions scrambled to update their calculations and predictions. The sonic meditation of her symphony disrupted by frantic debates and questioning. Accusations of folly and warnings of her aberrant use of public harmony channels streamed in, but SolÄ, determined, retaliated with her music, mounting onward the symphony of survival. She clung to her secret hope with fervor, playing for her civilization. The universe resonated with her defiance. The decrescendo spun to her melodies, her audacious frequencies rippling across the cosmos, the galactic collision redirected minutely, yet significantly. The muse of Decrescendo turned into an apostle of hope, harmonizing the pulsations of doom into resounding echoes of survival. The Listhea people watched her, listened to her symphony, their ends ringing with a melody of courage, unaware of the plot twist their world was swerving towards. As SolÄ's symphony resonated through the cosmic channels, the galaxies inched closer, yet their collision trajectory swerved subtly. Sparse rays of hope darted into the hearts of Listhea as scientists and authorities across the planet grappled with the trajectory changes, aiming to extract answers. Simultaneously, the accelerating collision intensified, casting a phantom glow on the planet, like the stage lights illuminating an act's climax. The audience, clad in veils of cosmic twilight, was glued to the spectacle, the silence of anxiety merging with the symphony of survival. SolÄ felt the weight of every pair of antennas tuned into her performance. The haunting magnificence of her prefacing galaxies reflected in her eyes, mirroring the collision dance about to set the decrescendo in motion. Yet, clenching her resolve, she guided the notes, harmonizing the celestial crescendo into her symphony's rhythm. The symphony was at its zenith now, the embedded frequencies aligning perfectly, causing a series of reverberations across the streams of cosmic music, the galaxies' pulsating movement intertwining with her music, the alignment painting a rhythm previously unknown. The miasma of anxiety around SolÄ gradually melted into awe, her gamble turning into a reality. On the central display of her stage, the Decrescendo played out. The spiraling galaxies maintained their course, but the adjusting trajectory consistently depicted a trend, an appreciably averted pathway. As the symphony resonated through the cosmic veins, the beautiful chaos in the sky somehow danced according to her tune. As SolÄ was submerged in her relentless performance, the vibrations from her symphony created visible ripples in the planet's acoustic aura. These ripples gained momentum, their crescendo embodying the fortitude of their composer, shaking the very core of their existence. The collision above and the harmonies within interwove themselves, realizing a pattern of synchrony against the backdrop of the decrescendo. Each frequency, subtly secreted within the symphony, strategically nudged the encroaching decrescendo. The stars collided less violently, their echoes subdued, their harmony tamed to a different rhythm, a softer and less fatal choreography, reverberating with SolÄ's harmonics. As the symphony neared its end, SolÄ's purpose and urgency pulsated with the final notes. Sweat pearls glistened on her antennae, her exhaustion threatening her synaptic nodes. Around her, the city watched, wide-eyed and puzzled, as their expected collision softened, the alarming intensity turning into a cosmic ballet of stars. As the doubts started transmuting into trails of hope, SolÄ's symphony echoed the last chords. The galaxies twirled in sync, delaying the decrescendo, their steps accompanying SolÄ's hopeful melody. As the final notes resounded through the streets of Listhea, a long-held breath was released. The decrescendo, the mournful zenith, was morphing into their beacon of survival. Little did the civilization know that their darkest night was paving the way to a new dawn. When SolÃ played her symphony's final note, a silence emerged from the city's sonic tapestry that hadn't existed for countless eons. The silence thickened, a palpable entity of its own, and the cosmos held a suspended breath in anticipation of the final act of their universe's demolition theater. With SolÄ's finale reverberating through the planetary network, she disconnected from the noetic keyboard, her antennas drooping, her body sagged, exhausted yet hopeful. Her eyes, however, stayed wide and alert, affixed onto the central display. The galaxies spiraled in their celestial dance, getting closure, merging horizons distorted, and stars clashed. The twilight splendor was terrifyingly beautiful, a catastrophic beauty manifesting before the mortal eyes of Listhea. But then, as SolÄ and her people held their collective breath, bracing for the inevitable end, something spectacular unfurled. The Decrescendo did crash down, but not as per the predicted trajectory. The collision, harmonized by SolÄ's symphony, changed its course, veering away from the tragic trajectory. The result was not annihilation, but seamlessness. Two galaxies collided, stars clashed and intertwined, yet they did not crumble. Instead, they spun into a new formation. The sky lit with the astounding maelstrom, the cascade of light mesmerizing, an epitome of transformation rather than destruction. The Decrescendo morphed from a harbinger of annihilation into an architect of evolution. The cosmic collision, instead of causing a catastrophic end, burned brighter, larger, an emblem of rebirth. As the radiant spectacle unfurled above, an incredulous gasp echoed through the city. Shocked eyes watched the impossible unfold above. A catastrophe turned into a miracle, thanks to the symphony of one lone astronomical musician. Shock turned into disbelief, and disbelief melted into celebration. Cheers filled the acoustic airways as SolÄ's gamble paid off, her infused frequencies having worked their magic, warping the trajectory enough to save their world. As the transformed galaxies continued their celestial waltz, a significant shift in the universe's acoustic ambience began. A harmonic richness unfolded under the triumphant glow, never encountered before by Listhea. The new spectral era, filled with cosmic harmonies, redefined the radius of their known universe, introducing a novel dimension to the sound-based lifeforms. Their world did not end but transformed. The symphony meant as their funeral dirge breathing life into a novel age. With the skies alight with new galaxies and the city reverberating with astonished celebrations, SolÄ stood amidst it all. Their muse, their savior. SolÄ looked upon her world, her antennas still humming with the aftertaste of her epoch-defining performance. Her symphony of survival played the opening note in the symphony of evolution, the cosmic ballet dancing to a new rhythm. Little did the Listhea realize, their cosmic journey was newly drafted by unexpected melodies. Far from a whisper of annihilation, the Decrescendo was a welcome note to their splendid rebirth.